Manchester United has lost money for the last 7 years. In the last 4 years alone, it's lost 330 million. The Glazers have taken nearly 200 million out in cash in dividends, while United has lost 330 million. All right. Now, these are direct quotes from the overlap with Gary Neville and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, I want to talk about this issue of money. All right. It's been a pressing topic amongst the United faithful. Under the previous regime, all right, now this is pre Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ed Woodward and the Glazers took out a lot of money from this club that could have gone towards renovating the stadium, paying out the debt that the club owns, and basically just using the money more productively to make this club, our club, a better place. But they did it, right? And a direct cause of that are the problems we are facing right now at the club, on the pitch, and everyone is suffering the consequences of that. Now, when you look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe, all right, he comes in and he's like, I'm going to be the savior of all of this. All right, I'm coming in, I'm putting on my cape, I'm going to bring Manchester United back to the glory days. All right, now, here's my fundamental problem with this. At first, everything seemed fine. Everything seemed all right. He seemed like he knows what he is doing. It's like we didn't do enough research into Sir Jim himself. We're like, okay, cool. He's into sports. He's part owner in the Formula One, I think with Mercedes or whatever. He owns some other football clubs, or he's got shares in other football clubs. He has done this before. This is not his first rodeo. And I honestly believed at that time that something was going to change, right? Not to say that he was going to be the hero, not to say he's going to come in and set things right, but I had faith in the Ineos group that things were going to be different. Things were not going to be the same. And I always assumed that over time, we were going to see these changes take place slowly, bit by bit, and things becoming much more better, right? One of the most important things that he spoke about was obviously Old Trafford, the new stadium, et cetera, et cetera. That has always needed to be discussed. It has always needed to be addressed, whether we liked it or not, right? I know we've got bigger problems at the club, but that stadium itself it's falling apart. We've seen the videos. You guys who have been to the stadium, you know what we're talking about. People have complained that this stadium is outdated. It needs to be rejuvenized. Something needs to be done. Okay, point. Something needs to be done. Anyway, let me not go too far, right? So Sir Jim comes in and, he starts making the moves, starts hiring a team, bringing all these guys, Omar Barada, Woodworth, everything like that, whatever, right? It's getting the ball rolling to basically, he's bringing these guys to help him bring his vision to light. Okay. And of course we know what happened. People got sacked, staff members got sacked, and we're like scratching our heads. Okay, what's going on? I thought you're here to make this place a better place, and now all of a sudden ticket prices are going up, staff members are losing their job, pay cuts are happening left, right, and center. What's actually going on? All right. And the more I deeped it, I started to realize that Sir Jim is making sort of business-like decisions. All right. His motives are more business-driven than fan-driven, right? Than club-driven. And you can look at it in two senses, right? Because it does make sense. Because at the end of the day, when the Glazers took over, that's sort of what they built the club up to be. And now it's there. So to sort of like bring back that healthy balance of United being like this huge commercial club that brings in a lot of revenue, to also pushing it back up to the standards of what we know it to be on the pitch itself. Right? But the thing is, Sir Jim is primarily focusing on the business side of things and not on the fan side of things. And it was so disappointing that Gary Neville even had to suggest ideas to him that couldn't even be suggested by his own staff members, by his own team that surround him. And the reason why I even find that more flawed is because fans, us, we voice our opinions out so much on platforms like this, on Facebook, on Instagram posts, etc., etc. He has also mentioned the fact that it's not nice, being berated by these fans all the time. They're angry. Why are ticket prices going up? This, and that, whatever. Why couldn't you have a team that could internally deal with those issues, that could go to these fan meetings, listen to these guys, and say what we actually want for this club to get it to the right? And I'm not saying the fans have got all the answers and whatever and everything like that, but at the end of the day, we are the ones who are bringing in revenue for this club. So it's only fair that our opinions and what we have to say, they have to lend an ear to it. They have to lend an ear to it and move in the right direction, because the way these guys are moving is not making sense from a fan point of view, right? From a business point of view, it may make sense, but on a fan point of view, it's like, okay, but what's going on here? You can't do these things while you're trying to get to this stage. And for Gary Neville to even come out and say, hey man, instead of cutting this 40,000 from ex-players, right, that played in the 60s and 70s, why couldn't you just organize like a charity lunch with Bruno and Maguire so the money can be raised? Why can't you take money out of these players' salary? Because these players, some of them are being overpaid and they know it, right? Like that Jay-Z line, would you rather be underpaid or overrated? You know what I mean? I feel sometimes these players are like that, they'd rather be overpaid than underrated. Is that how that line goes? Or am I mixing it around? But anyway, all right. So yeah, there's a huge financial issue that's going on at the club, and now obviously bringing in this whole stadium thing, it's now like, okay, but where's this money gonna come from? Because if you guys are telling us that you're going to put the club into more misery because you're trying to fund this stadium out of their expense, it's not gonna sit right with us. And I do understand they did inherit a broken system from the previous regime that they're trying to fix, but they need to find some sort of a healthy balance of how they're going to make this happen, because at this point in time, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense how so many players are being put on such a big salary, yet they're not, they're not living up to that value on the pitch. They're not, Unfortunately, that's something that I understand is out of their control. Again, they're not the ones who signed some of these players under these big contracts. So it's going to be very difficult to sort of make a refresh or a restart on that. Obviously, one of the ways is to sell players, right? Sell these big, these players who are on big wages, Casemiro, Rashford, etc., etc., etc. But now, because of that bad history that we have, we've also inherited this problem of, people coming to Manchester United and expecting those sort of fees, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's really a call for concern. It's really a call for concern. There's a huge financial problem at this club, and I don't know where it's going to take us. Now we just got news that, is it Queda or something that we wanted from Sporting? It's now gone to Chelsea. And because we couldn't reach an agreement, and I get it, they put things in place that, okay, we're not going to be spending X amount of money to bring players and etc., etc. But at the same time, you're also giving yourself this ridiculous vision, and it's like, one way or another, you're going to have to spend. You know what I mean? It's just the modern way. It's just the modern day of football, right? But it's about spending in the correct way. It's about knowing how you're spending these funds and not just doing things erratically. He spoke about the decision of Eric Ten Hag, his performances. He mentioned something about, what was it again? He said it was they're talking about the decision about Eric Ten Hag, right? And he said they don't know if it's the erratic decisions of Ten Hag or the organization, right? I'm paraphrasing. And we don't want to be in situations like that. We don't want to be questioning ourselves on what's going on, right? He spoke about Ruben Amorim. He's got faith in him, but if they're going to back him, they need to back him, right? And I think they really need to scale back and really think through, more so especially after that interview, because I think it was a real eye-opener, not only for us, but I think for himself as well, right? I think it was really an eye-opener for him to say, I need to take a step back and not just do things erratically and actually think things through before just going ahead and doing these things that they're doing. All right. I'm pretty sure they can renegotiate something with the players' contracts or whatever, where we can say, okay, this is where we're going to be saving money, because at this moment in time, this team definitely does not deserve those type of wages with the type of performances that they're putting out on that pitch. But yeah, it's been a crazy roller coaster, and we can only hope that next season, and after this interview, because I'm pretty sure there was a lot of backlash, there was a lot of talk about the interview, that they can actually start to listen, hear what the community has to say, and start implementing things the right way moving on to the next season. But yeah, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about on the financial situation, and catch y'all guys in the next one. Peace.